Well, as I guess you can see, I mowed in the cabin. It is cold. The inside thermometer here shows 0 degrees Celsius because that's as low as it goes. But when I left the house, it was something like -11 outside. I haven't been inside the cabin since we've had the 3 blizzards. All kinds of snow. I've had to use my snowshoes to come out here. So I've got the fire lit anyway, and I'll probably make 3 or 4 more trips out here till it gets warm enough that I can stay. But what I'm going to be doing today is taking this back to the house, a piece at a time, I guess, with my snowshoes, and bringing out a table from Ikea that attaches to the wall and then folds away. You can put it down flat against the wall. I had intentions of building one of those, or attempting to build one of those, ever since I've had the cabin and just never got around to it. And then one of my followers, sometime in late January, sent me a message suggesting this thing from Ikea. It's Larry Kestner. I think I have your name right there, Larry. Yes, Larry Kestner. I love Ikea products. I have several pieces of furniture in the living room, whatever, that are all Ikea. Anyway, I ordered this thing. I have got it assembled. It was quite easy to put together. It's fairly simple. I get it out here and get it attached, and I'm also taking these chairs in. At Costco, I bought 2 quite nice folding chairs. Probably won't be folded away very often, but I thought, well, the table folds away, I can also fold the chairs away. I guess I can hold barn dances in here soon. Anyway, once I get this place warmed up and these things carried out of here, I plan to try to get that up on the wall and have my lunch and spend part of the afternoon out here. Well, it took several trips back and forth on my snowshoes to get everything up to the house and the other stuff back out here, but I've managed to do it, even in the deep snow. This is my solar equipment, still stacked in the corner here waiting for spring. As I said, I bought 2 quite nice stacking chairs, well, not just they wouldn't stack, but folding chairs at Costco. Cushion seat and cushion back. And really reasonable. I think there was 17 and some change. Let's say $18 each plus tax. And this is the Ikea table. I will move you to a different position when I get ready to put it up here. Well, the holes are pre-drilled in the back of the table, so that does make it easy. If I had another set of hands, it would make it even easier. Usually my problem. They don't provide the screws to put it in the wall with. They say to use your own, whatever's going to work best for your situation. Well, I am fortunate that the walls in the cabin are all wood. And also around the window frames, I plan to put it, one side of it will start here and it will finish over here, just below the frame of the window. Around the window frames there's lots of timber, so I'm thinking that at least the 2 screws on the end will go into the timbers around the window, and then the rest of them will go into the wood on the wall, and may even hit another 2x4. You see where I've nailed in here going up, so just about in the center there is another 2x4. The catalog said 29 inches off of the floor. Not that the base of it goes down that far, but I measured the table that was in here previously, and evidently 29 inches is pretty much standard table height. Well, I've done something level, which is most unusual for me. I put this level underneath the windows here, and it is perfectly level across there. So I'm going to use the bottom of the window frame to make sure that it's level. I don't have to do any more calculating there. And from the bottom of the window frame to the floor is, well, slightly more than 29 inches. So this will be a bit higher than they recommend, but I can't see where that would be any problem. It's like 29 3/4 inches or something like that. Well, I'm sorry that you did not get to see the installation. It's not that heavy, but for one person to try to hold it, it's very awkward thing to hold and get the screws into it at the same time. And the fact that I wear bifocal glasses didn't help things at all. But there it is installed and just about exactly where I wanted it. It has 4 screws that go along the back, and then in the support underneath of there is one more. So there's only 5 screws that hold it there, but it seems quite firm, quite sturdy. Put it down for you and show you what it looks like. Away from the wall, and gives me quite a bit more space in here. Don't know how many times I'll actually have it down, but if there comes a time when I want to, I can always do it, I guess. It's almost 2 o'clock, and I haven't even started to cook my lunch. So this lunch is going to be a bit late. I'll show you in a second or two here what I'm cooking. Something fairly simple, but some things that I dehydrated, but I never did get around to using them. So today I'm going to try making a soup. I'll get you set up over in the corner where you can see. Well, you are in the bucket cam. I've brought the wooden bucket over above the stove, and you're soon going to get steamed up, I suspect. So I'll dump this in boiling water, and then I'll tell you what it is. Well, I guess that's in there, not boiling too badly. I had to adjust the flame so you won't get steamed out here. But in the garden last summer, I dehydrated a number of things: garlic scapes, the green celery soup, which I bought seeds this year, and they're calling it cutting leaf celery. Tomatoes, and ground all of those into 3 different powders. And what I just put in there was a tablespoon of the garlic scapes, a tablespoon of the green celery soup, and a tablespoon of the powdered tomatoes. And along with that, I put a tablespoon of black Japanese rice and a tablespoon of a soup mixture that I use quite frequently. It doesn't have any additional flavorings in it. It's just a number of dried things, 2 or 3 kinds of lentils, some barley. I think there's some rice in there. There might even be some miniature pasta. So anyway, this is going to have to simmer for probably close to half an hour to get the rice and things cooked. So I'll bring you back when I'm at the table, and we'll taste this concoction and see what it's like. Well, I don't know yet what that soup is going to taste like, but it smells very good. It didn't take me long to get the table cluttered up. I've used it already to write in my logbook here, and the catalog said the height should be 29 inches, and in order to get it up under the windowsill here, which made it easier for me to make sure that it was level, because that is level across there under the 2 windows, it's only maybe 3/4 of an inch higher than that, but you can tell that when you sit down to use it. I was surprised. So used, I guess, to the standard height, which evidently is 29 inches for tables here anyway. And I could tell it felt different to sit at it, but still quite comfortable to use. I thought I would show you out the door here while the soup is cooking. My snowshoes parked there. I don't know how many trips I might have made today, but I have a good trail going. I can get the door opened on the hoop house this winter. Before all of these 3 blizzards, I was in there. That isn't any problem, but now if I were to open it, I'd have to do a lot of shoveling first. It opens inward, but I'd have to shovel that out or it would all tumble in, and I wouldn't be able to get it to close properly again, so I guess I'll just leave well enough alone. I'll have lunch, and then I guess I'll go over to the house. I might take you with me on the walk over to the house. I was just sitting over on the sofa, the futon, whatever, looking over at the table. And something else that I like about the design, I guess, there aren't any legs. I can still trip over the chair legs, but the table doesn't have any legs. So when you sit under it and go to get up and whatever, you're not snagging your legs into the thing. What I wanted to show you is out the window here. That poor thing sticking out of the snow there, a few branches. is my grafted Asian pear tree. It's grafted with 5 different varieties of Asian pear. The trunk, which is, I don't know, a couple of feet at least, I put a plastic protector on it in the fall so that rodents couldn't chew at it or whatever. But now we have so much snow, I don't know. I'm hoping nothing happens to it. Rabbits could quite easily just hop across the snow and clip all the branches off the thing. I don't know what to do. I thought about putting something over it, which I could probably do. I have a, well, I guess I've used a lot of things. I was thinking about an old plastic trash can that I use for water out here in the summertime, but it's already over top of one of the cherry bushes. But anyway, if I put something over it, I've got to remember to come out and remove it when the snow starts to melt, because it will melt down and the weight of whatever I put over it will break the branches. So I guess what I'm going to do is just leave it alone and hope for the best. So far, no rabbit tracks on this side of the cabin. I do see something way up there in the snow at the edge of the trees. It's probably some of yesterday's tracks or earlier in the week. We had some light snow last night, so I can't quite tell what they are, but hope the rabbits don't find it interesting. Well, I don't know how I managed to do that, but I made just enough to fill this bowl to the brim, I guess. It's kind of dark. It does have a reddish tomato tinge to it, but I think the black Japanese rice, if I remember correctly, when I cook it by itself, I think it gives off sort of a black dye when you're cooking it, the same as black beans do. You hear that noise in the background? I've got the kettle on the stove now to boil to make some tea, but I'll give this a try. Quite different. I can taste the garlic scapes and definitely the tomato flavor in the background. Not so sure if I still taste the green celery soup or not. And it's just sort of in with everything else there, I guess. But well, I dried those things in hopes of making a soup with them, and I think that works quite nicely. I'll probably do it again. Very good. Well, we'll finish lunch, have a cup of tea, and read for a while, I think, but I'll take you with me on my snowshoes on the way back to the house. Almost finished my soup. I forgot to tell you what I'm reading. I have mentioned books that I've been reading in the past, and now I get people that ask me what I'm reading now. I've been reading on off-grid solar quite a bit this winter, getting prepared to install this kit that's behind me here. But now I am reading the third of the 3 books, the trilogy that Ken Follett wrote, the history of the 20th century, the sort of a fictionalized history of the 20th century. It brings in all of the real events of the 20th century and using fictional characters and some real characters, historical characters. This last one is called The Edge of Eternity. The first 2 took us through the First World War, the Second World War, the Korean War, and all that good stuff. And this one begins, I'm only into chapter 4, I think. This one begins just prior to the building of the Berlin Wall, and presumably it takes us right through till the end of the 20th century. He's a fantastic writer. Can't think of all the titles of his other books. I think I've read everything he ever published. And these books are sort of tomes. They're all close to 1,000 pages or so, and a lot more than 1,000 pages digitally, but I really enjoy them. So if you haven't read any of Ken Follett, I suggest you go look for one and give them a try. Well, that was a nice afternoon. There are lots of little chickadees coming and going at the new bird table there. There have been a few blue jays. And just before I left, the red squirrel came out from under the cabin to get his dinner, I guess. Ken Follett's book is really good. I read another chapter. It's the Civil Rights Movement in the United States. That section now, and starting the 5th or 6th chapter, I just read a paragraph or so. It's then moving into Russia, so I guess it's going to cover the building of the wall, and the Cold War, along with the Civil Rights Movement. It's a very well written book.